there will be no sunset yoga with these, because if you hadn't already guessed, I am insulating my entire van with them. So welcome to my beautiful medium wheelbase, extra high top Vauxhall Movano. I'm going to take a seat and get comfortable and talk you through why I'm doing this and how I'm doing it as well. Okay, are we sitting comfortably? So insulation in a van. This has been a real battle for me mentally, trying to just figure out what the best way to insulate is and the best versus cost effective as well, because there are so many different ways you can insulate and so many different tutorials on YouTube that want to claim their way as the best way. So yeah, I did a lot of research and it seems that the Celotex boards are generally what people claim to be the best, most effective method. Putting those into the cavities of the van and then maybe stuffing the nooks and crannies with plastic bottle recycled wool. You probably know what I mean. It's like wool, but it's made of recycled plastic bottles. So I was watching all of these videos and I just couldn't comprehend why you would spend so much money and focus filling the cavities, but then all of the other bits of bare metal around the van are then only covered by a very thin sheet of vapor barrier that doesn't have any insulative properties at all. So yeah, that is why I have decided to conduct my own little experiment using 6mm polyethylene foam all the way around every single inch of my van. So I know that foam isn't the best insulator in the world, but I think consistency is what I'm trying to really hone in on. This is that if I cover every single inch of the bare metal, that consistency is going to create as good a method of insulation as all of the other methods that I've seen. And also it's water resistant, so it acts as its own vapor barrier. Now I bought these really cheap on Decathlon actually. They were £3 or less than £3 each. What are the measurements of this? They're 140 centimetres by 50 centimetres and I bought 30, I think, and that has actually just about pretty much covered everything that I needed it to. So as you may be able to see behind me, I have already done a lot of work. So if we jump in, I will show you a little bit around and show you how I created this crazy looking sound booth behind me. Okay, we are inside the van. I'm gonna try and stand here so that I've got some actual light and you can see me. We're getting some real beautiful sunset vibes tonight, which is nice. But yeah, we're inside the van. I don't know how much you can see, probably nothing. But where's my foam? This is what I've been working with. You all know what a yoga mat looks like, but essentially I've been just holding these up against the metal of the van and then using contact spray glue. They're about £3 a can, some of the cheapest ones that I could find, and there's a Toolstation right by my house, which is handy. And yeah, how it works is you spray the back of the foam and you spray the wall as well, and then you wait a few seconds for it to go tacky and then you stick them up. So I've just been measuring, cutting, sticking all the way around the van. I started on this side and got a bit carried away with the foil tape. The foil tape is just kind of covering up the seams, so I was a little bit worried that if there was a tiny gap between some of the seams that condensation might collect there, but it probably wouldn't anyway. But I just thought foil was good because it bounces the heat off and it doesn't absorb moisture either, so I just thought that would be a good just fail safe to make sure that it's all good and tight. And then on this side I actually ended up having like foam scraps and offcuts by the time that I'd finished doing it, so then I ended up being able to fill those little seams in with more foam, which I prefer because it's a little bit more flexible. And I moved on to the roof with that method as well. I managed to cover the whole roof. That was a little bit fiddly because there are some curves and just nooks and crannies to cover. And then I moved on to the storage boxes, which I actually bought a different kind of foam just as an experiment because I realized you can get polyethylene carpet underlay and it's really cheap. So I kind of thought, oh no, have I spent loads of money on yoga mats when there was a cheaper method? But it's much less quality than the yoga mats. It's not as like dense. It's kind of, don't really know how to explain it. If I got some that I can show you, I'll just like tear some off. Like it's quite translucent, and it's just not as good. But it's fine for the upper cabinets because they're going to be closed off anyway. I'm possibly going to be putting a material over the top to just line the cabinets, so I'm not worried about it at all. I'm really pleased with how it's worked. I questioned myself on whether I would be able to cover every inch of the metal, but I don't want to jinx myself, but so far I'm success. So hopefully I can get that done and then I can move on to some of the next jobs. And one of those will actually be carpeting the door arches at the back. So I have already bought that actually. I'm going to use this wheat coloured 4-way stretch carpet, which I know a lot of people leave them bare, which again baffles me that you'd spend so much money on insulation in the rest of your van and then leave those bare. So yeah, I'm going to be carpeting those, but I still don't really know what I'm doing for the doors yet. I don't know whether I can foam them or carpet them or what I'm going to do, because I would like to put wood cladding on top of them anyway. So yeah, I've just got to figure out how best to do those because they're just such a tricky shape. But I'm really pleased with how it's working. I mean, I can't tell you 100% that it's better than other people's. I am skeptical as to how much real difference insulation makes in a van. My bulkhead is out at the moment, but I will be putting in a new handmade bulkhead with a little pocket door in. I'm really excited for that. That's going to be a really cool feature. Yeah, it's just such a tricky one, and you kind of have to take everyone else's knowledge and advice with a pinch of salt, like including mine. So do your own research, have a look at what you think looks good and practical and cost effective. So I think that just about concludes the video. I like to think outside the box and do things a little bit differently, so if you've enjoyed this, I'd love for you to subscribe and follow along. I can't wait to see this conversion unfold, so if you'd like to see what happens too, then come along and I will see you in the next video. Ah.